Thank you. Hi, everybody.
What's up? Hi.
I drove in here, so could you wake up for me? Hi, everybody.
Yeah.
I have koozies and stickers and all kinds of stuff to give you all. This is all available. If you come talk to me afterward, I will give you some of my personalized stickers. If you really enjoy the presentation, of course, I'm Gant Laborde from Infinite Red. If you hated it, I work at Formidable Labs. So anyways, yes. We're going to talk today about AI and JavaScript, which is two definitely weird topics to be talking about. But I think that this is something you all hopefully look back on in 5 years and say, wow, that did happen. Because I think that's a big deal of what I want to express to all of you. I think that we all are going to have to learn a little bit more about both these things and how they interact. And I will make my case to you all today. But first, to start off, why the hell should you even pay attention to me? So yes, I am Gant Laborde. I'm the CIO of Infinite Red. I actually love writing things in React Native. Something about JavaScript just going anywhere is very useful for me. Picking up the same exact code, putting it on a drone, putting that same exact code over here inside a Windows app, and then putting it on Android and iOS. I think that the benefit of JavaScript is not the syntax. I'm not silly. I don't think that JavaScript's the best programming language I've ever used. But it is the most ubiquitous language. And I think that we can't disagree with that. You can pretty much learn JavaScript and then go around the world. It's like the English of the coding world. And additionally, I am a GDE. That is not, by the way, that's not, I just finished high school at all. That's Google Developer Expert in web and in machine learning. So I think I'm perfectly poised to actually present this message because I have a dual GDE with Google in the two fields that I think are coming together, and that's my case for you today. So, that's how you go backwards with this thing, cool. Some of you might have seen my absolutely ridiculous icons. I have a friend in Japan. She draws really cool chibi characters, and she has all these cool things. I have some of these stickers here with me today. Come talk to me, it's a lot of fun. But if you see me around Twitter or GitHub, sometimes I look like one of these crazy things. So to start things off, who's the brave soul who is willing to give me any attempt at a definition of what AI even is? Someone, I know you want to try.
Not intelligent.
There you go.
Statistics.
I've seen that meme too. You know what? For your bravery, actually, here's a phone charger from Infinite Red. And this is a really cool device, so definitely thank you so much for actually raising your hand. AI is an umbrella term. It really is. We've all played AI. You can code AI pretty simply. If you had a game of tic-tac-toe and it was like, go in the very next available space, you technically coded AI. And that's been around for a long time. As a matter of fact, I think the first tic-tac-toe did work like that. I think it was like, it'll always do the same moves, even though it's not actually a strategic move. And then lots of other algorithms have happened. When I first heard about AI, I was bored out of my mind. It was terrible, and it was really boring. The only cool thing I wanted to do was figure out how Street Fighter was able to like fight me back. Like, what the hell is going on in this machine's brain? And now, if you play Rocket League, you hate AI. There's all kinds of reasons to dislike it. And you know, of course, Terminator 2 will scare the hell out of everybody from trying to learn it. But we've recently approached this new sort of form. And by the way, I am long-winded. I did not time this presentation. So if I end up short, Q&A. If I go long, then someone flash a flashlight at me and help me out here. But I think what's really key here is that AI has significantly changed. And what we have for AI is significantly changed recently due to something called machine learning. Now, we've all heard this machine learning term. And machine learning is the new hotness because of two things. we have fast machines, and we have lots and lots of data. And so, did anybody here see War Games? Remember the movie War Games? Yeah. So you have the machine playing itself, or it's learning by itself, and so it's actually going through all this data to make a more intelligent algorithm. And that's pretty cool, because that can code things that a human really would absolutely hate to code. And so since 2012, machine learning started a vast improvement in all kinds of features. So let's talk for a second on why machine learning does this. First thing I want to say, we've all heard this idea of like write once, run anywhere, which is a lie even in JavaScript, right? That's something a used car salesman uses. That's not something that's actually real. But let's say you were going to write Grammarly, something to check your grammar, if you're familiar with Grammarly. And you get your English PhD, then you start writing all the rules, you break things down into their essentials, and you write this complex rule structure that can find that spliced comma or that dangling participle in a particular word. And then everybody says, fantastic job. Now we'd like you to do it in Spanish, right? Not enough lifetimes. Immediately done. But what if instead of writing that program, you wrote an algorithm that does rule extraction from looking at millions and millions of books and identifies what is the most likely sentence structure. And then you unleash that, and it works with whatever, 99% accuracy statistics. And you get there to the end of it, and they say, do it in Spanish. You say, give me 10,000 Spanish books. And you point that same exact application to Spanish books, and voila. You have written the same thing that is solving a multitude of problems. That's what's exciting about it. And that's the same aspect that makes me excited about JavaScript. So, machine learning is about the power, right? That's the thing that I think is the most attractive part of it. And I'm not gonna lie, it was something that I hated until I started to see it everywhere. And so if I get one thing out of this entire presentation, is that I want you to start seeing it everywhere. The gravitational forces will do what they do. In early 2012, mentioning when I think that some particular group broke the ImageNet record by some obscene percentage, Google had less than 4 TensorFlow models, actually less than 4 machine learning models in production. When that happened, they invested, and they invested properly. At the end of 2017, they had over 4,000 TensorFlow production models that was in production. How many of you, and that's 2017 stats, I don't have what they're doing recently. How many of you are writing in Gmail and it's finishing your sentences for you? And when you hit tab to say, good job, Google, are you helping that machine get a little bit smarter? I'd argue yes. They can't find enough places to shove machine learning into. Facebook, dangerously so, can't find enough places to put machine learning into it. Amazon is doing the same thing. So these Fortune 500s have the money, the wherewithal, the power, and they are significantly attacking AI machine learning because they see the future. I can talk about that and what you should be doing to help out with it and what other countries are doing for a very, very long time. So if you have questions about that, please talk to me. So I want to talk about what the hell does it do, right? We can think of a couple of examples. I said the one about tab completion, maybe Grammarly, Street Fighter, right? But let's come up with some other examples.
Hello.
This is a friend of mine. That is not Nicolas Cage.
Asked me to introduce him. I said
that's a deep fake. We've all heard of deep fakes. This is
So
a friend of mine when I was doing a presentation at Amazon.
Cool stuff.
I asked him to do Nicolas Cage, and he did.
With
So,
machine learning.
this is about 5 minutes of this, by the way, so I suggest you actually pull down the slides and watch the crazy video.
What I do best.
I did the face transfer,
Declaration of Independence.
but he did the editing and the presentation. That was all him.
I made a movie.
Okay, that's enough of you, Frank. It really is quite entertaining. There's a theme song and a trailer at the end. So, this is something that happened at CES 2019. So this is a year old now. You've probably seen this quite a bit now. So this is region detection, style transfer on segmentation. So it's identifying where a person's hair is. Actually, it's coming out really weird on this screen. It looks really good on mine, but sure. And she's testing out different hairstyles before she's even buying a hair dye, which is a really cool feature there. We worked with a company who actually asked us to apply makeup to people without them actually buying the makeup. They could try on different patterns, and then when they got the makeup, they could just say buy, and that's the makeup that they would get. It's really cool. When we were working on this, TensorFlow.js wasn't able to access WebAssembly yet, so we had to do it from scratch, and our friend Leon, who was working on it, worked well into the night, and the animated GIFs of him working well into the night are my favorite. He would send these with his pull requests, and I think he really enjoyed himself. I think he's got this code stashed away, don't tell the client. But that's a lot of fun. Some of you might work remotely. There's noise removal. This is an app called CRISPR that you can buy, you can do a sample of. You could be in a noisy airport, and it can cut out all the background noise on your basic microphone using AI. This one was a good one for me. Someone actually generates metal music 24 hours a day in YouTube streaming. It's hooked to a computer, and all it does is make brand new metal music all day for you to listen to. I can get you the link for that one as well. I should have put it up here for you. It's crazy. So it's pretty cool to listen to. Google did a trick to teach us all how to teach a computer. It basically made AI play Pictionary with us all in QuickDraw, and then it released the data set for free. So if you want to go ahead and do a Pictionary sort of a website or product or anything like that, they made that all free, and a bunch of people came in and drew pictures and trained this particular model. Deoldify, this is a cool one. You've got an old black and white photo, it automatically guesses what the colors are. So you can go to an artist, but even if you are an artist, this is a great place to start. And they recently released, I think today, Deoldify, Jason Antic released the most recent model of Deoldify, which actually has, it's even better than the one I have here in this example. And I have a video I released today where I actually show some of the stuff that he's done. So, by the way, if you do follow me, expect all kinds of weird mad scientist spam. I'm just going to check out weird shit and send it to you in Twitter and all kinds of other stuff. So, warning, you've been warned. This is a great one. Setting up a Raspberry Pi to tell when a parking spot's available so you can run down there and steal it. This is a really cool aspect as well. So hopefully something in here kind of like triggered your tinkerer spirit in some sense or another. Something was like, hey, I could do that. That's a Raspberry Pi sitting in a window. You know, you could build something really cool. And that's really, really where the technology's at. I like to say that we're currently at, there's an app for that phase of AI. You're all coming up with the ideas, and your ideas are better than the Fortune 500 companies' ideas. If you are interested in the basics of AI, just the absolute basics, I have a course online, and it's on one of these stickers. Yeah, it's on this one. And it is a free 5-day with certification course, 100% free. It just helps you with the buzzwords. It just helps you kind of get past some stuff. And I have lots of cool examples like this one as well. We have people, actually, oh no, I just skipped past it. I guess I did put that in there, but it's gone. We have over 3,000 people who've already taken the course. It's less than 3 months old. So it is doing really, really awesome. People are enjoying that course. If you go take a look at the hashtags on Twitter, it's doing really well. Now it's a free course, so at the same time, like I can't take too much pride in it. It's like, sign up for the free course. Nothing's to stop anybody from doing that, but I really, really enjoy the comments. So if you take it and you enjoy it, I promise you, leave comments on each section and I'll end up reading those. That's actually how my morning coffee goes. I look at those comments every morning and it gets me going. A little bit about what AI should do. And this is another thing I could talk for a long time about because I have strong feelings about what it should and shouldn't do and what people are doing with it. Here's something really cool Microsoft did. So an alternative to Google Maps, I think it's Open Street View, it's escaping my brain right now. People would go in and they would like lay out these really cool buildings and identify all these structures for people in GIS software. And for 14 years, like this is the most that they were able to get, and this is really amazing. Well, then Microsoft taught some AI to watch satellite images and then go ahead and from that construct the buildings. And the result was that 125 million buildings added overnight. They open sourced the software and they've made a realistic competitor to Google Maps, which is open and free for everybody. This is a fantastic way to give back to the community. That is something a human being should not be doing. It is tedious and it's difficult. So to my opinion, it still probably needs to be cleaned up by a human, but this is very useful for the community as a whole. Doing inventory management. Has anybody ever worked at a place that had to do inventory? Did you hate inventory night or like it? And I saw some nods with hating inventory night. I hated inventory night. You can have flying around drones identify inventory. And as you've seen before, Amazon's releasing a whole bunch of stores where you just walk in and it knows the inventory as well. What else should it do? It should honestly be saving lives. And it shouldn't cost a fortune to save lives. Sorry if this sounds political, but at the same time, I care about about everybody. And I think that the breakthroughs of it spotting skin cancer, we all know people have been touched by these things. It can actually predict. So you can go in for a simple surgery and it can save your life. And of course, it can actually diagnose a disease before you even know you have it. This is about you being able to affect the lives of people around you. So here's some things that I think that AI should be doing. And actually, believe it or not, it's not that hard to do. And the list goes on. It's a ridiculous amount of things that AI is doing. This would be a very boring presentation if it was just that the whole time. So I want to break it down into silly, simple definitions, right? So what is it? Well, you're gonna hear this word called a model. And that comes from the mathematics of it. But we're programmers. Forget model. We have here a function. That's it. What's a function? Some data in, some data out. If you're getting really strict about it, one thing in, one thing out, mathematicians, calm yourselves. But you put stuff into it and stuff comes out. That's what a model does. So what you finally got here is you've got something like, let's say data in is some faces, right? Oh, I forgot to do the thing I want to do. I'm gonna do that in a second. And data out is like, how are they doing? Like, how is everybody doing on that? Like, are they happy? Are they sad? What are the emotions of that? And actually, one thing I want to do, but I'm not sure it's going to work with the lighting also with this lectern, but if you decide to do it, I made it special for this. Probably need to work on more. I don't know if y'all are actually enjoying yourselves or not, so I made this thing called Enjoying the Show. I just want to make sure y'all are actually happy with the presentation. So what this does is this will look at your face and it'll tell me how you're doing. So here I am here, I'm normal. Hi, I'm enjoying this, this is so good. He did it. If you get a chance, maybe we'll line up several of us later on. Oh, my arm's angry. That's a very angry arm overall. We can maybe line up several of us, but it's enjoying the show. It's a fun idea. So yeah, but that's it. You get a facial expression recognition model, and then you feed it faces, and it tells you how it's doing. That's it. This is a function. So, hey coders, we're back in it. We're doing AI. It's not hard. I know that they want you to think it's hard. You didn't need that PhD. It's okay. Now, everybody who's got a PhD just got upset at me. It's because I said the truth. Okay. So where do these models come from? Number one, download an existing model. It's just like code. Go ahead and get some existing model. So the one that I did with the facial recognition, I didn't train that. That's just something someone did, released to the public, and then I implemented in TensorFlow.js into a website. Ta-da! Number two here, train a model. This is what everybody with a PhD wants you to do. They want you to go out, get thousands of photos of something and train it from scratch and then do a white paper about it. And then this will take a ton of time. Now, don't get me wrong, you will create something beautiful or amazing, and I have trained models from scratch, and it was a great feeling, but the breakneck speed of what we do in development is we use tools. Engineers use tools. Nobody says, let's build a train, first thing we do is make our wrench. Okay, so in wrench making, you don't need to learn that, right? This is construction, whereas what we are talking about, we're looking for plastic injection. We want to use Legos, right? And that's what engineers actually want. So that, for the last piece, I would say, modify an existing model, which is also how I think everybody actually codes. It's sort of like going to Stack Overflow and then taking an answer, changing it a little bit, and then implementing the solution as long as you understand it, right? You all understood why they put that comma there. Okay. So this is what everybody actually does. I think that for the majority, no one actually sits there and gets a server farm and starts from scratch. They start from something that's close to what it is that they need, and they use something called transfer learning to change the last few layers of a model so that way it actually performs the operation they actually want. So what's the status of all this? Well, I think there's a bunch of islands, or island and isn't land, as this is set up here. They're not talking to one another. Data scientists don't know anything about actually delivering as many products. You know, web developers have to deliver products all the time and don't care where the data comes from. Machine learning and is in all these different languages. People are trying to do it in different aspects. I'm talking about it in JavaScript, but the most popular language for it is, of course, Python. So as is right now, we're all not talking to one another. We need bridge builders. We need people to take ideas from one aspect and bring it to another. And the major businesses that have been showing up in the past 2 years aren't novel applications of AI. They're simply the application of concepts from the past decade applied to actual relevant things. So there's a lot of opportunity in just simply applying what's already out there, all the models, all the aspects, and gluing them together in a way that makes a difference. So I think machine learning and JavaScript is the best glue. I think that's the best way to build a bridge. Machine learning can do all the things, JavaScript can go to all the things, and so I think that with JavaScript we can do something, but isn't JavaScript just a toy language, right? We're not supposed to play with it. No, you can beat the hell out of a GPU with some JavaScript. As a matter of fact, with WebGL, you can access the GPU directly and do ridiculous calculations directly on device. So if you were to actually create something, you saw that we had real-time access. We'll play with Enjoy the Show more. I have all kinds of models and weird stuff I can show y'all if you really want to have fun. But I'm getting near real-time access. Why am I able to get real-time access? Because I'm accessing the GPU, or I have a buff enough CPU that can handle it, or they actually work together pretty well. But you have small, we have models now by XNOR AI, which are like CPU intensive, so that they're actually almost as fast as GPU. People are constantly figuring out these things, and Google made their own thing called a TPU, and so you could actually buy small devices like this big that have a TPU on them, and then launch them out in the field to do insanely fast machine learning. So no, and you can do it all in JavaScript. So you don't have to worry about JavaScript being a toy language. You could use TensorFlow.js, you can use Brain.js, or you could use React Native, which ties into native. Now React Native is in JavaScript. How many of you know React? Any React developers? Cool. I have some of my stickers are very React specific. And so if you know React, you know React Native. Most React Native devs don't want you to know that, but you know React Native with just like one day of headaches. And now you're doing JavaScript and you can tie directly into native. So you could use TensorFlow Lite, you can use CoreML, and I'll show you examples of that. So here's some apps that I've done in React Native. You click on the apple, it tells you it's an apple with 58% confidence. It thinks that that's an espresso, and then I didn't train it on tacos, so that's a pencil box. That's what that is. But you see the low accuracy that happens there. This is React Native TensorFlow Lite, so using JavaScript, accessing the machine's TensorFlow Lite. Then I did a purely JavaScript solution in Brain.js. By the way, all the source code's available. And so this is a classic like dev science for machine learning 101, the MNIST data set, which is handwritten digits and figuring out what they are. So I'm drawing digits, and then the machine is telling me what it thinks that I do, right? And so that was all coded in JavaScript. Thank you, coming back there. And this is a really fun one I did. You know hot dog, not hot dog? But this one's like food, whatever it is, so it's macaroons, that's pizza. And what I'm doing here is I'm just scrolling through images on my laptop and holding my phone at my laptop. Then you can see the blah.jpg at the top. And that's done also in JavaScript, but I'm doing it live through the camera. So it's getting real-time kind of speed because it's actually accessing CoreML on the iPhone device. And it's really cool. So it's identifying French fries. Ooh, thought it was something else for saying they're hot dogs and stuff like that. And I have the source code for all three of these apps. They're all in React Native, but they're all using different flavors of JavaScript. The one on the left is using TF Lite for getting down to the metal. This was CoreML, and that one's all in JavaScript. So these are things that you can do right now, and you can play with. I don't know what a food, maybe this could be like a cool calorie app. Oh, you know what? There was this app, I think that they're doing now, where you can learn a second language, where you walk around your house. Anybody, when they learn Spanish, have to like put Post-it notes on everything for that different language, and you just go, so what happens is you could take a photo of it, and then you could just hit Google Translate API, and it could be like, oh yeah, that's, you know, un tazo or something like that. So it could actually translate things. That'd be a cool application of it. I think somebody's already doing that. So if you do it though, I don't think that's a copyrightable thing, so that'd be cool. I also applied to something really important in the browser. My website, nickornot.com, is on the serious question on whether or not someone is or is not Nicolas Cage. It's very critical, especially if you go into any other countries. Now you can see it identified Nicolas was in this photo, and you get the Nick detected item. You can pull this up on your phones as long as your phones access your camera. I also did a native version of these. But yeah, it's really fun, and you could use the photos I provide or upload any photo just to see whether or not you or you're not Nicolas Cage. Yes?
Have you seen how many frames in your deepfake have passed the Nick or Not test?
That's a great question. I should do that.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that. I didn't even connect to like bring it back together on that, but that's a good one. I will do that. And then when I did this for a presentation in Poland. And so I had to make sure that they knew what the hell was going on. So I did declarationofindependencethief.com, which is where I got the model from. I spent way too much time for 30 seconds up on the screen for that website, so I suggest you try it out as well. But it's a lot of fun, so you can check out Nick Cage. So a lot of these things I've said are very fun. Hopefully I can get back to a little bit of seriousness. And that's sure, Gant. You say you want to be serious. Here's a product that we did for learning, and I actually think that this one is a significant positive impact on the community. And give me a second, I'll explain why. So, what the hell is not safe for work JS? Well, large companies like let's say Facebook, have thousands of employees to find indecent content. They look at it, they can find it, and then their job is to remove it. Thousands of employees. So your startup has you and 2 other people sometimes, right? And one of those people aren't really carrying their weight, right? So anyways, so you need something that you can implement, and this is a great opportunity for AI. Another thing is it's not people looking at data. It's a machine looking at data. So that would be privacy. And then the last thing is it's going to be consistent on the rules and regulations, at least to the best of the AI's ability that we can make it. And it's going to be ever vigilant in that same sense as well. So what I like about this is, let's say we made a, just hanging out this meetup app, right? And then you get a message from someone, and it's like a direct user-to-user message. And then it blurs it and says, hey, the AI kind of tripped off on this image. Do you know this person is, we're 95% sure this is an indecent image. Tap it to unblur it. Like whatever, live your life. But just for you, you may or may not want to see this. And then feel free to go ahead and report or just block this person. And that required 0 people, right? That's just a tool. And it doesn't actually stop the experience that you want to have, but it helps protect you. And so that's really cool because that's something that this can do. Because it's open source. So Not Safe for Work JS is something that we did for open source to sort of implement and identify whether or not we could actually do this with JavaScript. And boy, oh boy, it got weird. People came out of the woodworks. All kinds of crazy questions happened. Now, I'm not brave enough to actually show you this thing working. That's why I will answer that question for you if you like.
Set free?
I get that question constantly. Now, I would never, because I would make a mistake, accidentally drag it to the wrong thing. But here it is identifying 5 different types, and you can see the actual identification of what's happening there. Now, you might be wondering, why the hell does Gant have, let's see here, Jeff Goldblum .png, and there's a really good reason for that, is because, believe it or not, when I first made this, something in the training data, I think it's because he can't keep his fingers out of his mouth, but the actual Twitter Jeff Goldblum account got tagged on that, and it went viral. It was a pretty interesting moment. But yeah, so it was very wrong about Jeff. And so that's the thing, it's going to be biased. And I have no idea always why. It depends a lot on the data, which, by the way, was pulled off blind via Reddit, and I'll be happy to explain that. But for some reason, it had that problem. So we actually did some additional tweaks and configurations. This is why I love the community, right? We were able to come back together, and yeah, I know it kind of sucks, but I was able to fix it. And so it actually neutralized Jeff Goldblum. It's even better now. It's got a higher accuracy on everything. And it's just something we were able to work on because the community somehow found this, and we identified things close to people's mouths that actually trigger this. So we helped do it. But I'm sad to see Jeff go. That was my favorite part about this particular tool. So I think that this is a really good setup. Is it still biased anymore? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, every bit of data is biased. All data is biased. Now, your dirty minds did this. That is a clean photo, folks. You are all terrible people. And so this person doing their PhD did a study of all the different indecency detection systems out there. And as you can see, even mine, along with Google and Clarify, we both were fooled. So if it can fool a human in a second, it can fool AI. I don't know, maybe this can be really good for your marketing campaigns. You can find what photos will make people look twice. You could use this in your advantage. But AI is not perfect, and it has bias, and justifiably so. If a person gets fooled for a second, it's okay. And everybody's seen this lamp, I hope, before. This is a classic lamp example, so As some of you just realized that was a lamp. Okay, good. So yeah, there's going to be bias, and there's two different types of bias. There's type 1 error, which is like that, and there's type 2 error, which is like that. And both of those are wrong. But you have to ask yourself, how should it be wrong? If you're going to have bias, if it's going to be statistics, how should it be slanted? And in the case of not safe for work JS, I'm glad that it is a little bit more willing to go off. It's going to say false positives a little bit more that aren't there. So it's a type 1 error that we have. And with something like not safe for work JS, you want it to have type 1 errors. You don't want it to have the other one and let things slip on through. And you have to ask yourself this, in every application, how is the bias going to be? And this is where I like people having conversations. We talk about the trolley problem with self-driving cars, right? But what are the kind of implications if we have something like, let's say it's identifying cancer? Do we want it to be very positive? Or do we want to have more type 2 errors? Are we willing to scare people, or are we willing to go ahead and possibly have somebody's life be at stake? These are crazy questions. And I like engineers and sort of like non-political mindsets actually being able to have a discussion about this. And I think that starts in rooms like these. So, off the soapbox again. So Not Safe for Work JS was a really cool tool. Please go back. Okay, good. We actually have a shirt. We have shirts, so we have stores. It's a really cool thing. Who wants a Not Safe for Work shirt? First hand in the back. So here's a Not Safe for Work sticker. On the back is a code. If you go to store.infinite.red, you get a free shirt, sir. So yeah. By the way, when I wear this at conferences, it gets like ridiculous amounts of attention. It's a pretty fun shirt. You can put yourself with the shirt on and with the shirt off and see which one actually scores higher. It'll give you a percentage to tell you. I am 5% sexy, by the way. I just want you to know.
Hey, it's another question about that. Is it purely like app-based?
It's 100% JavaScript based. So it's client side.
I was saying, like, you ever thought about applying something to like a content filter, web filter, like at a corporate level? That way it's like...
Yeah, you could do that. Also, you could probably turn it into a Google Chrome plugin or something. Someone actually took the library and applied it to React Native, of course, which was really cool, and wrote about it and identified it. Then someone else took another article and used that same code and then credited this and a few other things. It's got like 3.6K stars right now or something. I would love to help anybody write their own, as well as utilize this and put it in a place that makes sense. And you could run it server side. You could run it node side if you wanted to as well.
So it could be like a proxy in between.
Yeah, you can easily set that up. And my blurring code is just CSS. It's just, I mean, honestly, all it does is return a set of percentages on how likely it is identifying those things. And it does it ridiculously fast. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, this is set. If somebody really needs a Not Safe for Work JS shirt, talk to me. We'll see what I get. So I have, how am I doing time-wise? Because I have so much stuff that I don't know. About 10 minutes. Okay. Let's blow through how to make a model real quick. Like, because I've talked about what it is. It's a function, right? And you show it a bunch of data. So we'll do a quick version of like the original Not Safe for Work setup. So if you take my 5-day course, it'll make it even more clear. It's super easy. It's nice. So we usually, as humans, write if-then statements. But what actually kind of comes out of these models is really hard for us to understand. So we don't know, and it doesn't know how that's actually happening. We can look at the layers, we can look at the activations. Usually with visual things, we can kind of figure stuff out. But it's not a very simple process, and some of the models out there are insanely complicated. Just reading the specs for them is like, whoa. But it's really interesting. So I don't think you have to actually identify how it finally works. I have no idea how Not Safe for Work JS finally works. All I know is that when it had a bias, I had to introduce new training data to the machine so that way it would actually understand and eliminate that bias. So what we do is we make this guy on the left side, the teacher. We make the teacher and we make the test. There's a great video about this. I'll definitely link you all. That's where I've gotten these screenshots from. So you don't come up with the advanced algorithms anymore. You just teach the computer to come up with its own advanced algorithm. So you come up with the problem, get the data, let the computer figure out what the algorithm looks like. And then neither of you are going to understand what the result is. So that's what I did for Nick or not. The exactual setup for this. Let's see if I can get through this. Yep. So the hard part was the data. So I had to scrape the internet for pictures of Nick Cage. Then I had to grab other celebrities. I had to remove their faces. That algorithm was called Face Off. Makes sense to me. Then I had to manually check my data for errors. It was at this time that my girlfriend thought I was losing my mind as I'm going through 500 photos of Nick Cage and deleting the ones that were not him. She was walking behind me. To this day, she thinks I'm absolutely crazy for this. So you had to grab people who looked like Nick Cage. That was important as well. Like Chris Kroger.
Chad Kroger.
Yeah, he looks a lot like him, so that worked out pretty well. It helped really kind of hone it in. And then I found the teacher and let it train. So this is when I did it in iOS. Every so often you just see Nick like glare at you through this. It was very frightening. I sat on my machine for 5 hours. And it actually performed terribly at first. So what happens here is there's a function that tells it how well it's doing. For instance, if I were to say, okay, I'm gonna guess how many bedrooms and bathrooms you have in your house. You have 2 bathrooms, you're like, oh, good job. And you have 700 bedrooms. Okay, well, accuracy, I was at 50%, because I got 1 answer correct out of 2. But that second one was pretty bad, so we actually determined like how bad the answers are. And so that's the loss. So what you actually want to have is the accuracy go up and the loss go down. And that's what those charts are trying to tell me, and the loss is not going down. So I did what actually I think all data scientists are actually doing out there. I just kept trying shit, and sure enough, I brought in this face model, which helped bring in, like I said, transfer learning. I brought in this very advanced facial feature identification model, and then ta-da! You can see the accuracy shot up, and the loss came all the way down here. I probably should have stopped right here if I was really smart. That was lower than this. I ran it for way too long on that one, but it doesn't matter. And then it wound up solving it, and then I forgot that I had AWS running. So I wound up paying a couple $100 or something. I forgot. It was pretty bad. Then I grabbed there was Frank, my very first photo. It finally worked. Detecting Nick was 70% sure with that terrible shade, and then it was not Nick with 99% accuracy. And that was the moment I was so happy. That's an unreasonable moment to be happy. And then like here's the mobile app in action. If you decide to download it. That was way too much fun. So yeah, then once you've got kind of things like this is the same stuff that powers the fact that I was messing with him, and kind of like it learns over time and it figures out how to add things to people's faces, identify certain people, and it was a lot of fun as we went through it. So my goal here is for you to see these things, identify them, and think in machine learning, right? What is something a human can do trained with examples right now? Like they've never seen it before. This person's left-handed if they write like this and there's smudges here. And you could train them with all these examples from this penmanship. Instead, you could show all those examples to a computer, and the computer can do it scalable and in a small amount of time. So if you've got the data, and it's something you could actually teach a human to do with examples, you can teach an AI to pretty much do it with those examples. This is specific to supervised learning, but I'm not even about to open up the other stuff. Take the 5-day course if you want to hear about unsupervised and reinforcement learning. But that's the question that you should have over coffee, Like, what is something that we could do? I'll give you a perfect example I saw recently. Someone made a gun identifier for a camera in a bank. So people look away from monitors. People get tired. People don't see things. That gun flashes on the screen for a second and the computer gets it. That's a great application. Doesn't mean the computer can go, you can't give it a bunch of examples of how to beat up a robber. The person's still essential. But it was able to go ahead and identify something that no human should actually be grudgingly going through. And that was a really cool example I saw recently. Every time I find something really cool, I tweet about it. I'm going to give you all the links on these tweets later. So the last thing I think here is the key is that for you to be active. If it's just talk about it, if it's just see it, if it's take a course about it, if it's, hey, I'm going to apply this to one need or another, I think that's the real goal here. Because I think developers coming together are going to make AI way better. It democratizes AI. Some people hate when I use that word, but it makes it in the control of all of you. And I found that the funny thing about it is, Andrew Ng calls it the new electricity. And electricity had this ridiculous industrial revolution that followed it, or significantly altered the industrial revolution. I think that AI is going to significantly alter all of our worlds. Hence me saying in 5 years, this is going to be butting up against every one of our jobs and every one of our interactions. It's already creeping in places, and I hope that you see it, and I hope that you see it more, and I hope that you're in control of what it's doing with your data, so we don't have another Facebook situation where we find out that it's been grabbing all this information about us and using it against us far after the fact. We've already relinquished our freedoms. So it's very important, I think, for you to actually just ask a few questions. And that's the fun part. And I'm happy to help you get active. Reach out to me anytime. Reimagining everything inspires science. Do you know who said that? A machine, actually. Inspirebot.me. Get your own inspirational quotes at any given time with really weird background music. That's another fun website to go to. But I scrolled through that just a little bit to get that quote. That's not a human quote. For the second to last part here, I want to ask, I actually teach a course that's a $300 course on how to do TensorFlow.js, how to do the basics of some of the stupid crap I've been doing up here. It's next to the free course, it's not free. Who of you would actually take this course? All right, I saw, well, you already won. He's got to get one now. Okay, this is on the back of this. Don't show anybody. That's the code to go ahead and get the course for free, and that's a sticker for you. So, you got the TensorFlow.js course. If it sucks, don't tell me. I worked very hard on it, and I'll be continuing to make lots of fun courses and build stupid stuff and send it your way. But this is a course that's available. If later on you find yourself interested and you actually want to build some of these goofy things, that's the best way to get started. There's no good TensorFlow.js courses that don't start directly in math and a bunch of obscure things yet. I'd say I've made the only one, but you see my flavor. If you like it, good. That's the free course. Like I said, yep, there's over 3,000 students already enrolled in that. It's only been out for 3 months. It's a 5-day course. It's a lot of fun. I had a great time writing it. I had no idea it'd be so fun. It's been translated into Shona and Zulu. So underprivileged people on the continent of Africa who don't speak English, it's been translated for them. That's a cool service that we were able to provide. Hopefully they continue to take the courses. I think that the developers in Africa is a great initiative. But again, I will get started on that. I have a Twitter account where anything that's fun with machine learning goes to. It is @FunMachineLearn. And the hashtag for it's doing extremely well. Somehow, people are just using it left and right. So I love this Twitter account. I basically run my Twitter account and this one all the time because this is a lot of fun. I just started a newsletter. So ai-fyi.com. Ah, that's cute. AI-FYI. And in the newsletter, I'm going to creep into a little bit of a few serious things here and there. That's a fun one to kind of see what's going on, but I post tutorials in that one. I think some tutorials are good. I don't always write the tutorials, and sometimes it's just really fun stuff that people have find. So I'm sending that out once a month right now. We just sent out the second issue ever today, so it's brand new. I have to say thank you so much to Infant Red, who constantly is willing to pay to send me all kinds of places. They didn't send me here today, though, unfortunately. There was no flights. But they send me all kinds of conferences. They load me up with stickers and cool stuff to give away. It's a great company. If you ever have any consulting needs, especially in JavaScript, perhaps React Native especially, we do that constantly. Please reach out to us. Also, if you tag them, like if you're like, hey, I loved Gant's presentation. What an awesome dude. Then yes, please tag them. I want them to hear that. And last but not least, keep in touch with me. This is my contact information, and you've been a wonderful audience. Thank you so much.
We have time for a couple of questions.
Yes.
So does anybody have anything?
Yes.
When you say you're training the model, like for example with the Nick Cage thing, you
Yeah.
essentially pass it like the image and then a yes or no?
That's essentially exactly what that one was. It was yes or no identified, whether, so I had, there's like different types of classification, but that's a binary classification. It was the easiest one for me. That's exactly all it gets. It just gets a giant list of pictures and then whether or not they were or were not Nicolas Cage. So yeah, it was not hard to get that data. Yes.
Recommendation on how to get started with this if you don't have, if you're just integrated GPU and everything and you don't have a discrete or anything, what's the best kind of library to pick it up and start running with it?
Right, so if you're trying to get started and you want to get started actually writing code.
Yes.
Okay. If you choose the JavaScript route, I'm going to toot my own horn here and say that there's nothing like TensorFlow JS out there, and especially someone who made a course, I'd say my course is the best for that. If you are willing to do it in Python, however, your options open up significantly. Now you're moving everything to the server. So one of the things I want to mention about TensorFlow JS is all these things were running directly on the client. Not safe for work JS never leaves the machine. The facial recognition for enjoying the show never leaves the machine. That allows us an insane round trip. But if you're trying to say like, is this car damaged or not, and you're willing to hit a server, well, I mean, it opens up to Python, and honestly, the best stuff out there is all in Python. There are two things that I recommend that you take if you're willing to go down the Python route. One is Coursera's deeplearning.ai course. I would say practical TensorFlow and deep learning AI is the best one for that one. Don't go, it can go into the math, but don't go into the math unless you just want to have fun with math. But math is fun. I love remembering how to do the chain rule in calculus and linear algebra. It was fun. It's useless. It has nothing to do with actually delivering, in my opinion. No one should be writing their own backpropagation algorithms, just like none of us should be getting down and doing some assembly code unless you're the badass who does it for everybody, in which case, thank you. The other one I'd say is, if you want to go the other route, Facebook's route is PyTorch, and there's a great course called fast.ai. It's a little bit more dry. It doesn't actually give you a certificate. I don't know if that matters, but it's really, it takes a long time, and but it's good. It's a really good one, and that's probably the best. I would say PyTorch is where everything's going for Python. For the TensorFlow Python, TensorFlow PyTorch fight, PyTorch is currently winning. PyTorch doesn't have a client side, so for that one we go with TensorFlow JS because they're beating the hell out of everybody and like actually applying it to JavaScript. So it depends on your answer there. Those are three great options.
Do you need to know Python, the language, to actually take those courses, or do you kind of pick it up?
If you have you done Ruby?
Yeah.
You could. You're good. Just remember white space matters. Done. You're like in some subset of Ruby. I mean, is any Python developers getting offended by that? I'm sorry. Python and Ruby fight, I know.
We have time for one more question.
Yes.
Would you know if companies like Tesla have tools to analyze the algorithms their models produce, or do they just like test the accuracy of it?
No, they have, so what they do is they do an object detection with accuracy, and so what's cool is you can almost turn on, let me show you something real cool. So for debugging, so what I did here, like you need a, oh great, just open and close this all day. Here we go, let's get a tab here. I want to show you something like, so it looks a little bit like this. Enjoying the show. We're looking here, it's loading the model right now. By the way, this is a formidable, this is victory pie chart right there. Come on. And camera, wake up, baby. All right, there we go. So watch this, face boundaries on. So you can see here, it's got the percentage accuracy at the top left. It's 85% sure that's a face. I think I should be offended. It's 99% sure that I'm neutral. So now it's 100% sure that this fake face is happy. I'm happy! So one of the things.
But you'd mentioned that it's kind of hard to really understand what the actual algorithm behind the scenes is doing.
Yeah.
Is that the case, or do they just kind of test it for the accuracy afterward, or do they?
It's the entire testing of these things, a whole subset. So one of the things that happens afterward, a large chunk of the data is held off to the side that it's never seen before to prove that it can generalize. There's also this form of cross-validation that it can do. But if I say it's never seen my face before, and I give it a picture of my face, I've trained on a bunch of faces, and finally showed mine, if its level of accuracy with that shows me the performance of it.
Gotcha.
And so driving these things around,
of it doesn't matter so much.
also, when you're doing CAPTCHAs and you're clicking, is this a road sign and things like that, you're actually helping create the test answers to see how well these things are performing.
Does Tesla maybe have like mathematicians analyzing the algorithms that they're getting?
Yeah, I mean, people are getting deep into data curation and trying to optimize and trying to fix these things. But the large portion of it, it is, the ultimate solution of it is quite beyond. And I think that that's where you decide to go for a PhD. If you want to start explaining those middle hidden layers better, go get a PhD, write it all from scratch. Now you're the person who should be doing that. So,
sometimes explainability matters more than others, right? So when the Tesla car runs over someone, people are going to ask questions about why it did that, and being able to explain how the algorithm got to that is going to be super important.
There are companies next to that that also do extra things to mess with other companies now. There's a drone that projects people on the road to mess with Tesla cars. Yeah, they're doing all kinds of weird tricks.
And they'll probably legislate eventually, making sure that you keep a copy of the model for certain things.
Yeah.
Like if you start using AI to like determine your eligibility to like adopt a child or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, like you would want to make sure that it's not biased in any way, and so they're going to start potentially legislating. You know, the model and the algorithm as it exists would have made your decision is kept stored somewhere.
And making sure that we're involved in those conversations for legislation is going to make sure that we can continue to have it in our favor.
I just hope it never uses my search.
Yeah.
They're not going to understand what the hell we're talking about.
They are not.
All right. So I'm going to have to cut everybody off. Thank you, Gant.
Thank you.